One Piece. One Piece. One Piece. Episode 683. With the rumbling of the ground, the god of destruction, giant Pika descends. Now this episode begins, as usual, with the friggin' longish all hell recap, and then you see Luffy and Zoro face off against Fujitora in an attempt to get to Doflamingo. Luffy gets a nice hockey punch in, or goes to hockey punch Fujitora, but he blocks with his sword. Fujitora tries to weight Luffy down with his gravity technique, but Luffy is able to dodge. Zoro goes in, and has a somewhat good bout, I should say. But Fujitora, of course, seemingly has the easily upper hand because he's able to easily block. Then over at the palace, we see all the Doflamingo members who Pika decides he wants to take out all the enemies alone. But of course, we find out that his voice is so high-pitched that some of his subordinates couldn't hold back and giggle, resulting in that particular member being killed. And Doflamingo claiming that the Doflamingo family is his family, and because his mother died when he was 8, and he killed his father when he was 10 years old, and anyone who laughs at his family is going to die. We switch over to Robin's group, who continues to run away from the former toy slaves and are attempting to make their way to the Royal Plateau, where King Riku is. Then we see the fight between Zoro and Luffy and Fujitora end because Pika emerges from the ground as a gigantic golem, almost like a moving mountain. And when he speaks, his high-pitched voice makes Luffy burst into hysterical laughter. And this causes Pika to get mad and attempt to punch, he doesn't attempt to, he actually punches Luffy. And this causes a huge shockwave, sending both him and Zoro flying. Now, this episode had some good parts and some not so good parts. I mean, the Luffy Zoro versus Fujitora fight, that wasn't a fight, but a scuffle, was very entertaining because Fujitora is awesome and so is Luffy and Zoro. Of course, not as awesome as Sanji, but that's besides the point. Then the whole thing with Doflamingo announcing that hey, my mom died when I was 8 years old and I killed my dad at 10, and the whole fact that he will kill anyone who laughs at his family members kind of puts helps to characterize him, because he doesn't want to, just tells us more about him, which is good. Pika emerging from that ground as that mountain-sized golem, and friggin' that punch was cool looking. However, and before I get to the final point, the bad points, for one, the whole thing with the pacing, as usual, is horrible. Especially when the Pika's punch seemed like it was dragging on forever. But, the pacing at this point is par for the course. The whole thing with, Robin's group was okay, but I mean, when they go to climb up on a net made of Robin's arms, and Rebecca's about to try and climb up, but she's about to but then she gets attacked by some random fodder Coliseum people, I guess, or people, I don't know. And before they can get to her, Tank shows up to save the day, and they try to make a big deal out of him, but I even forgot that he was there, that he was even a character, to be honest. Now, my favorite part of the episode was Pika's voice. I mean, we all, as a person who reads the manga, I knew that Pika's voice was going to be high pitched, and people were going to be laughing at it. But the fact is that I liked it. They did good, and it was friggin' high pitched and hilarious. It got me laughing, and whenever people were like, "Oh, don't laugh," or people were getting attacked because they were laughing at Pika's voice, I laughed even harder because I'm like, haha, I get to laugh at it and nothing bad will happen to me. So, for the purpose of the Fujitora versus Luffy Zoro fight, the Pika voice and his golem stuff, plus the Doflamingo revelation of his mother dying at age when he was 8, and his father being killed by Doflamingo himself at the age of 10. I'm gonna say this was a pretty decent episode. As usual, the pacing could always be better, but it's One Piece. It's par for the course. So I just hope you guys have all enjoyed this review, and catch you later.
Hey guys, so I just watched the One Piece episode last night, and I know I don't usually review it with Don, but this time I did watch it because I knew what was coming, which was Pika's voice, and I really wanted to hear it, so I did end up watching the whole episode. And I'm not going to go into the review because I don't really feel like joining in on the review, but I just wanted to comment on Pika's voice. I thought it was pretty well done for the anime. I was more expecting the dog from Up, the Rottweiler. I thought that was what I was more expecting, but he sounded more like Setsuno from Toriko. So yeah, and I thought it was a good episode actually. So yeah.